Hi, this is Menachem Mengster from Lighthouse Learning. We're going to start now the Sefer Torah Ohr. It's a book that takes the weekly Torah portions and it explains and extrapolates how these Torah portions are not just stories and rules of what to do and what not to do. They're inner guiding posts, inner reminders for our divine consciousness, for our inner space inside, to be able to be reminded of what is my truth, of what I should do in this moment, not coming from a place of my instincts or my upbringing, but rather coming from an inner wisdom that we have inside of us. And the Torah is here to communicate to us that inner wisdom that can be forgotten. And it's through learning and meditating into these concepts, we can come to personalize them. It's going to be a text-based class. I'm going to be reading it line by line and explaining. Let's get started. Shemaim Kisi, Vartzadam Raglai, Ezabayas V'Gomer. It's Hashem communicating through a prophecy. Hear the words, and we'll explain them. The heavens are my seat, and the earth is my footstool. What house are you going to build for me? It's a little bit weird. What is this seat that God's going to sit on? I know it's the heavens, but God, there's no physicality. So what is this message from this? What am I supposed to learn from this if there is no dimension of physicality by Hashem? God doesn't have a seat. He doesn't sit down. He doesn't have feet. There's no place where to put his footstool. So what's the deeper mention that this is trying to teach us? What is the message from this? God created existence. He's the source of physicality. So what does it mean that he's contracting himself according to our communication? The Torah is in the heavens. What does this mean? Torah, when we look at it, it's like a rule book telling me what to do and what not to do. And why does it have to be in the heavens? It's really here in this world with us. The way that you say heaven in Hebrew, Shemayim, is made up of two words, fire and water. The way you say fire in Hebrew is Eish. The way you say water in Hebrew is Mayim. The word for heaven in Hebrew is made up of conjoining fire and water together, making the word Shemayim, Eish and Mayim, fire and water together, creating heaven. Synthesizing opposites is how we generate peace and heaven in our world. And that's what the Torah is here to do. It's here to synthesize the physicality and spirituality, the non-physicality, within our integrated existence. We're trying to take that which surpasses time and to personalize it within our own limited confines of this world. Let's continue. We're requesting from Hashem every day during prayer, during our meditative alone time with Hashem. What are we requesting? We're requesting from Hashem this ability to integrate and to synthesize within my own personal existence what's the true message, what is my true mission within my life, within my story. Through the compassion of our relationship with this beyond consciousness with Hashem, that through this relationship of this meditative prayer, we're able to actually do what the Torah is telling me to do. Not as in a rule book of telling me what to do and not to do. Much more than that. I'm integrating the messages into my emotional framework of my consciousness. And I'm not just living by rote and survival, but I'm living from a place of wholesomeness and safety. The Kate said to you, so how do we do this meditation? Shema l'shen Havana. Twice a day, we say a Jewish prayer called Shema. You look at the word Shema, it's made up of Shin Mem Ayin. The way you say name in Hebrew is Shem, Shin Mem, name, and then there's an Ayin at the end. What's going on here? Now, Hebrew, each letter of the alphabet in Hebrew is also numbers, and it's teaching us a message. Ayin becomes the number 70. I'm not going to go into this in detail. I'm just going to do it more superficially, and we'll cover it in future classes. But there are 7 emotive attributes that each person has inside of themselves. 70 refers to that inter-inclusiveness of our emotions, and shame refers to the name. We're now going to explain what that means for us and why it matters. First, going to read it inside. And this is the prayer that we do twice a day. Ki shema shem ayin pe'esh ki ayin abasi, ki bichinas lecha shem agdol v'gvura, v'kol sheva midas elyonis, shebichinas lecha, dahainu shem betil melav, v'necholon b'makarn, shadayin, einam v'chinas hamshacha v'izbashtus lamata, le'us elam b'shem gdula v'gvura v'chuli, v'azay nika b'shem ayin abasi, v'hamshacha shenimshach mispashet lamata, rak bichinas shem levad, shu ora ba'alma. Emotions are how I communicate with somebody else. A name is because, for lack of a better term, I need to communicate with you. Now, your name is expressing you, but just because I'm hearing your name, it's only an expression of you. It's not everything. When we're relating to Hashem, when we're relating to this concept of God, we're listening. We're not just listening, we're listening how the concept of God that we're relating to is itself a contraction, is itself a limitation for Hashem. The way we refer to God in Hebrew is we say Hashem, the name. Why are we saying the name? We're saying the name because we just have to use a name. So that's what we're going to do. But really, Hashem is so much more than my perception of him. Hashem is so much more than his concept of the creation of God, of how it relates to us. We talk about God, but we really don't know what God is, because God is itself a descent. The idea of communicating and relating to us, in the same way emotions is how I communicate and relate to the world around us, so to the concept of God is how Hashem communicates and relates to me, but really he's so much more than just his communication to me. A father that relates to their children, as much as it matters that he's a father, he's so much more than that. He's also can be a friend, he can be a son. There's so many more dimensions to Hashem than just his communication and relationship with us. And it's tapping into how big God truly is. K'maimer, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Olon Vad, She'ein Ze Ela Mivchinas Shem Umida Malchus Yisperich, Malchus Kol Olamim Kasiv. Hashem's entire relationship to us is only an external factor. He's so much more than just this perception of a God for us. V'zo inyan bina, and this requires something called understanding to tap into this. L'havin davar miteich davar peish teich davar nika b'chinas mamali kol olamim. Now, in order to tap onto this, we're going to take a pause here. We covered a lot. It's very contracted concepts. So I'm going to pause here by Vizel and Bina, and I'm just going to extrapolate on this, just summarize up this first section here. When we talk about Hashem, about God, we have to question, what is this version of God that I'm talking about? I'm talking about a God that is itself a descent. And when we can take a moment to reflect on that, there is all of a moment this portal of enabling me to be able to not be me and to think a little bit of a dimension that is completely beyond anything, because we're so used to physicality and logic. But all of a sudden we realize that logic is itself a creation. Even the concept of God is itself a creation. All these things, and then we can tap into something that's totally not limited to my perception. And it's a moment of silence, and it's a moment of space to allow wisdom to shine through. There's a lot more about to be said, but we're going to pause here. And it's very deep concepts, I know, but we're going to be explaining in the next class. All right. Have a great day.